Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Blame It on the Stars, where we give you an inside look to what's going on in the universe so you can blame your problems on the stars. It is Jade here.
And it's Kara.
And this week, Aquarius season begins. We're going to be giving you an entire overview of all the transits that happen during Aquarius season, so you know what you're getting into up front. But in case you missed it, last week we had a very magical new moon in Capricorn, and Mercury also entered Capricorn. So if you want to know more about that, then listen to last week's episode before diving into this one.
And just to give you a heads up, next week we will tell you everything you need to know about Venus in Capricorn and the full moon in Leo, which we will talk a little bit about this week, but more in depth next week.
And with that being said, let's dive into the episode. So the first few transits of Aquarius season will be the Sun entering Aquarius and Pluto entering Aquarius. Since they're happening the week this episode comes out, we'll explain these in more depth now, but all of the other transits we'll discuss in lesser detail, like the full moon in Leo, new moon in Aquarius, Venus in Capricorn, Mercury, Venus, and Mars entering Aquarius, and Uranus stationing direct, because they will have their own episodes in weeks to come, but we still want you to know what you can expect, so we'll talk a little bit about it now. Aquarius season will begin when the Sun enters Aquarius on January 20th at 9:08 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Per usual, the date and time are from the website astroseek.com. How this affects you. As the Sun moves through Aquarius, there's an emphasis on expressing your authentic self. You're more likely to embrace your individuality and celebrate what makes you unique.
Aquarius energy is also associated with friendship and community. You might find that you're more drawn to social activities during this time and other collaborative projects. This is also a really good time for networking and to connect with others that have similar goals and hobbies as you do.
Now, there are two key dates you'll want to pay attention to while the Sun transits through Aquarius. The first one will be January 27th. The Sun will be square Jupiter. A square between the Sun and Jupiter does bring some tension when it comes to your individual self and the expansive, optimistic energy of Jupiter. While Jupiter is all about seeking growth and abundance, the square can bring some challenges or possible exaggeration. So just be mindful if you feel that with this confidence, you might accidentally end up taking on too much or committing yourself to more than you're able to follow through with.
And then on February 8th, the Sun will be square Uranus. This square may bring us some challenges and unpredictability. Uranus is associated with things changing and sudden events occurring, so you can expect there to be some changes or surprises going on. You also might find more of a desire for independence and autonomy.
And then the same day that the Sun enters Aquarius, Pluto will also enter Aquarius. So that's January 20th. But this will happen at 7:51 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. What you need to know is this is the second time that Pluto has entered Aquarius. We did have the first round of Pluto in Aquarius last year. This is the second round of it. It will eventually leave Aquarius in the middle of the year and go back into Capricorn before finally re-entering Aquarius and staying there in the end of the year. But for now, what you need to know is that Pluto in Aquarius can bring some transformative changes when it comes to technology. Pluto is all about transformation, and Aquarius is a very innovative sign. So a lot of people are predicting that Pluto in Aquarius is going to be all about technological innovation and revolutionizing how we interact with and use technology.
Because Aquarius is also associated with the collective and society as a whole, you might notice that there are some shifts and changes in the different trends and things that you are seeing online, on social media, and in your personal life. However, because this is an outer planet transit, it might not be very obvious how it's affecting you personally, and it might be a little bit more clear to understand in the future or on a bigger scale.
So everything else that happens during Aquarius season will have their own episodes, but we are going to talk about them just a little bit now so you know what's to come. The first thing that we're going to talk about is Venus entering Capricorn on January 23rd. This happens at 3:51 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. How this affects you. Since Venus does deal with our relationships, our finances, and our creativity, you might notice that you're prioritizing what's best for the long term, whether it be your long-term financial goals or what's best for your relationships in the long term, and so on and so forth.
So the good news is that there will be mostly positive aspects during this Venus transit, except there will be one square to the nodes, which will bring about some challenges. We will talk more about those in next week's episode.
The next thing that happens during Aquarius season is the full moon in Leo on January 25th at 12:53 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. What you can expect is that the full moon might highlight some really expressive energies. The full moon in Leo is a time for creative self-expression. It's for celebrating what makes you unique and not being afraid to let your individuality take the spotlight. I will say that emotions might be a little strong, but with that being said, passion is also going to be very strong as well.
The aspects for this full moon are pretty intense. There will be a square to Jupiter, which is going to amplify all the things going on during the full moon. There also will be aspects to Pluto, which is another really intense energy, all about empowerment. So if you want to know more about this energy, listen to next week's episode.
The next thing that happens during Aquarius season is Uranus stationing direct in Taurus on January 27th at 2:35 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that could be January 26th if you're in a different coast. What you need to know is that Uranus turning direct in Taurus signals a period of innovative changes, particularly when it comes to those Taurus themes. So that could mean our values, finances, etc. In general, you can just expect the unexpected.
And again, just a reminder, because Uranus is an outer planet, the shifts and changes that you experience when it stations direct will be a little bit more subtle.
So the next thing that happens during Aquarius season is Mercury entering Aquarius on February 5th at 12:10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that could be February 4th if you're on a different coast. Something you should know is that Mercury in Aquarius is all about intellectual exploration. It's about thinking innovatively and being open-minded when it comes to how we're communicating with others. You might notice that there's more of a focus on collaboration and brainstorming new ideas.
As for the aspects, some of these are going to sound familiar because as different planets are entering into Aquarius, they will be aspecting the same outer planets. So what are those outer planets? We have a conjunction to Pluto, which again is bringing a lot of intensity, some healing energy, especially with it being in Mercury. There can be some realizations and breakthroughs. There also will be a square to Jupiter, which is intensifying this energy, and a square to Uranus, bringing more unexpected changes.
So the next thing that happens during Aquarius season is the new moon in Aquarius on February 9th at 5:58 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. How this affects you. New moons are all about new beginnings and setting intentions. And as we've been mentioning, Aquarius energy is very innovative. It's very progressive and it values individuality, but at the same time, it values friendships. So this is definitely a great time to be setting those intentions around maybe new projects that align with your authentic self or bringing in a new innovative perspective into your life.
There will be one aspect at the time of this new moon, which will be a square to Uranus. That's really going to, again, enhance the new things that we are starting, the new intentions, the new projects that you're setting out to do. However, because it's square, that means that the things that you're working towards can be a little bit uncomfortable or challenging, or they might not happen in the way that you expect them to.
The next thing that happens during Aquarius season is Mars entering Aquarius on February 13th at 1:05 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So again, that's February 12th if you're on a different coast. What you need to know is that Mars in Aquarius can really bring a dynamic energy to your pursuits. Since Mars is our motivation and Aquarius tends to be a little bit more independent, you might notice that you're really seeking to have more independence in your life. There's more of a focus on individuality and advocating for certain causes that you feel are important to you.
And again, we do have similar aspects as before. Mars will be conjunct Pluto, which is really intensifying and channeling our energy and motivation. There will be a square to both Jupiter and Uranus.
And then the last thing that happens during Aquarius season is Venus entering Aquarius on February 16th at 11:05 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. What you can expect is we're bringing that Aquarius energy to our relationships, finances, and creativity. This is a time to try new things with your friends and your loved ones, to value intellectual connections, and to be open-minded when it comes to how you're managing your finances or when it comes to your creative side.
And as for the aspects, Venus will be conjunct Pluto, which can bring us closer together to our loved ones. There will be a conjunction to Mars, a square to Jupiter, and a square to Uranus. And again, we will go into more detail in that episode.
And that is it for this week's episode. If you're curious to know more about how any of these Aquarius season events affect you on a more personal level, then we encourage you to book a reading, and the link to book a reading is in the description.
And if you never booked a reading with us before, then you can use the code STARS, all caps, STARS, for $20 off your first reading.
And just a reminder, next week we'll be talking all about Venus entering Capricorn as well as the full moon in Leo. If you want to know more about that, then definitely stick around for next week's episode. But until then, if you want to stay in the loop with us and what's to come, make sure you're following us on Instagram. We're also on YouTube at BLME The Stars. That is all for now, and we'll see you all next Monday. Bye.